there, welcome to VCode's 100 Days of Coding Challenge. Today is day 6 and let's see the question number 2. So the question is, create a Java program to showcase the use of final keyword in scenario involving constants and variables. So we need to implement a math constants class containing final constants and a student class utilizing the final variables. So the description is given. We need to construct a math constants class containing final constants like pi and Euler's number. So pi means 3.14 and Euler's number, which we generally indicate with E, which is 2.71 nearly. And then we need to implement a student class with final variables. So what are all the variables which will have? It will be student name and ID. And we need to emphasize immutability in it. And there is no particular input format in this question also. We just need to demonstrate how this final keyword behaves and changes the output. The output must be display constant values from the math constants class and demonstrate the immutability of final variables in the student class. So the constraints given are retrieve and display final constants pi and Euler's number from the math constant class, emphasizing their immutability. So this is the first task where we will retrieve and display the final constants from the math constant class. And the second task is we are going to instantiate student objects with their names and IDs, and we will showcase how we are unable to modify the name and IDs of certain student. And the third task is we are going to modify the final variables within the student class, and we have to just observe, run and check if we are getting a compilation error or not. So this is the basic idea of this question. So let me quickly create a Java file. So I will write here final implementation .java. So now I'll create a main method here, public static void main. Okay, our first task is to create a math constant class. So math constants. So what constants did we were mentioned in the question? So they are pi and Euler's number. So I will write here, as we don't have any other methods, so I'm directly going to write the variables as static. So final, static. So what is the data type of pi and Euler? They are double. So double, and I will declare the variable name as pi equals math.pi. We already have this math.pi, which is pi value default in Java, so I'm going to store that value inside this pi variable. Now I'll declare another variable to store the Euler's number. So Euler's, so let it be Euler's, and then so Euler's number is also already there in the Java, so math.exp of 1. So this exp of 1 will basically give us 2.71 and so on value, so which is actually the Euler's value, and this pi is default 3.14 and so on value, right? So I have declared this variables as static because we are going to use so I wanted to access them directly using the class name, and then the final keyword because it we need to demonstrate how we are going to show the immutability. And so let me call these variables here. So I will write a print statement here. So I will I'll write math constants dot pi. So as I am directly calling this using the class name, that's why I have declared it as a static. I will write another print statement to print the another constant, another variable, which is the Euler's. Now, okay, this will basically print directly the values of pi and Euler's. Now let's try to modify it. Let it be pi equals, okay, math constants dot pi equals, so let me give it as 2. I'm saying that it is 2. You can see here the final field math constants dot pi cannot be assigned. So what it is saying, as we have declared this as final, we cannot change it anymore. So we have demonstrated it, right? So I have retrieved and displayed final constants pi and Euler's number from math constant class, emphasizing their immutability. So this shows immutability of final variables, right? So I'm going to, okay, so let us run and check what is happening. So firstly, we need to compile it. So let me compile the file, javac final implementation.java. So you can see here, cannot assign a value to static final variable pi because it is final, right? So the demonstration is done. So I will comment this out and I will only display the values of the variables this time. Java final implementation. You can see the values of pi and the Euler's Euler's number are displayed. The first task is successfully completed, and now the second task, we need to create a student class also, right? So let me create a student class here. The class student. So what all does the student have? I will write final student name and final student. Okay, let it be ID. Name and ID. Okay. So what is the data type here? We have forgot that. So the data type of these are, it will be string. Even the ID will be string. Done. Okay. So now it's time for us to initialize them. So I will write a constructor for it because whenever we create a student, we are going to call the constructor. So I will be passing the string and name while declaring the object, and string and ID. Okay, name and ID. So I will use this keyword to assign the values for them. And this dot name equals name. Done. So I have assigned the values for them. Now, so what else we were asked to do here? So here instantiate student object with specific name and IDs, and we need to showcase the inability to modify the final variables. So let me create here. So I will clear this and I will create objects for the student class. So student, so let it be S1 equals new student. So let me give the name as Ramu and the ID as, so let us give the ID as 20 ABC, ABC1. Okay. And I will create another student, S2 equals new student, and the name I will give is, let me give it as Tanu, and the ID I will give it as ABC2. Okay, so these are two students which I created, and now I'm going to print the values of these students. So for that, I'll write here another method, void display info, and I'm going to print out the name and ID of the student. Name plus and ID. So I'm going to call the display info for both these students. So display info. Okay, so there shouldn't be any println method, and s2 dot display info. Okay, so I have created two students and I'm going to print their details. But what if I wanted to change the values of this student? So let us say s1 dot name equals, so I wanted to change it to Krishna. So is it possible? So let us check here. The final field student.name cannot be assigned. That means here you can see we had already declared the variables as final using the final keyword. That means we cannot change the values of those variables. So whenever we try to compile the file, so you can see we are going to get a compilation error, cannot assign a value to final variable name, because it is already declared while the object is created that this is the final name and this is the final ID, and it cannot be changed anymore. That's why here we are getting a compilation error. So the second task is also done. So we had we had created student objects and we had printed them, and we also attempted to modify the final variables within the class, and we also observed the compilation errors. So that means whenever a variable is declared as final, we cannot change the values of that. So in this video, we had seen how the final keyword changes a variable, that how it makes the variables immutable. So that's it for this video. Do follow the 100 Days of Coding Challenge by VCode. Thank you for watching.